These are the 4 mirrorless cameras that I use on a regular basis. The Nikon Z8, the Zf, which is filming me right now, the Fujifilm X100VI, this is my newest camera, and then the Ricoh GR3X. The GR is not the best camera. It can't do the most stuff, that would be the Z8. It's probably not the best looking, that would be either the Zf or the X100VI, kind of depending on your preference. But by one metric, the GR3X is far and away the winner for me. And I call that metric joy per dollar. And as I was thinking about how to represent this, I thought I would try a chart, because what's more fun than a chart? All right, so this axis represents fun, from least fun to most fun. This represents cost, because in my world, high cost in and of itself is not a virtue. And then the size of the circle that I use will represent how powerful a camera is. And right now I mean technically powerful. How technically capable is the camera and how versatile is it? So the Z8 is the workhorse. It's the most powerful. It has a 46 megapixel sensor. It shoots 20 frames per second in RAW. It shoots 8K video. It is the most powerful, most capable, most versatile camera I own. It is also the most expensive. And for me, it's also the least fun. Now, what it makes possible makes me happy. I can shoot landscapes with this, I can shoot portraits, I can shoot wildlife, I can shoot birds, but I don't think of this as a fun camera. It is absolutely the best camera I own, maybe the best camera I will ever own, but by the metric of joy, remember fun per dollar, it is actually the worst. But it's the most powerful, which is why the circle is so large. The Zf is nowhere near as powerful, but it's about half the price. It's also a very capable camera that I've used to shoot everything from street to sports to senior portraits. I also use it as my main YouTube camera. Somehow the Zf manages to be both beloved and seriously underrated. I made a 1-year review video a couple of months back if you want to check that out. The Zf is not a lifestyle accessory. This is actually a very capable camera. There's very little it can't do, and it can't do exceptionally well. The Zf is also, in my opinion, a lot of fun. I talk more about that in the review video, so I'll just highlight a few things that come to mind. I love the brass analog controls. It has a really interesting manual focus feature. And then one feature that I love completely out of proportion to what a small thing it is it has a dedicated black and white switch. And so I'm actually gonna put the Zf up here. It's less expensive than the Z8 by quite a bit. And it's also a lot of fun. So it's actually sitting up here pretty high. The X100VI, I mentioned that this is my newest camera. I made a video a couple weeks ago about why I bought it. It was as much a confession video as anything else, and I've only had the X100VI for about a month, but I've been trying to use it most days. The X100VI is a pretty great little camera. It has a 40 megapixel sensor, great image stabilization. It has a hybrid viewfinder, which I really like. It shoots 4K video. It also looks awesome, and it has Fuji's famous film simulations. It is several $100s cheaper than the Zf, but it's nowhere near as powerful. Again, for right now, powerful is standing in for technical capability and versatility. The X100VI is also, for me, not nearly as fun as the Zf, and that's obviously a very subjective measure, so take that for what it's worth. Still, I like the camera a lot, and I like it more every time I use it, so I'm actually gonna bump it up a little bit. So let's see, it is less expensive than the Zf, not as much fun, and so I'll put it right here. This feels pretty good. And that leads us finally to the GR. The Ricoh is by far the least expensive of these cameras, and it's also the most fun, and so we'll just go ahead and put it right up here, kind of in a world of its own. The GR comes in 2 focal lengths. The GR3 is the full frame equivalent of 28 millimeters. The GR3X, which is this one, the one that I own, is the equivalent of 40 millimeters. I've had this camera for 2 years. This camera does one thing well. It takes pictures. Everything else it tries to do, like shoot video, it does poorly. That's why on the chart, the circle is quite small. And so you can say that from a technical standpoint, this is the least powerful of my 4 main cameras. But what it is fun, and it's my favorite camera. So what gives? Well, some of it you've heard before. It has a very sharp f2.8 lens. It has impressive stabilization. I can get shots down to half a second, sometimes even 1 second. I actually prefer Ricoh's colors to Fuji's colors. The positive film effect in this camera is my all-time favorite film simulation, and 40mm full frame equivalent is my favorite focal length. The Ricoh also has a solid macro function that I have used quite a bit. More than any other camera, the Ricoh came closest to matching my expectations. What I wanted from this camera is what I got. It is also, of any camera I've used, the one that feels most like an extension of my hand. I travel with it, I take it on hikes and day trips, and I just use it to document daily life. And this camera is actually pocketable. Everyone talks about this, but in my opinion, this is what makes the GR an actual game changer, because there is no reason not to take this camera everywhere. If I'm wearing a backpack or a coat, I might keep the camera in this little leather case for extra protection. But if I'm not, I'm just slipping it into the front pocket of my jeans or my shorts, or just keeping it around my hand. It's very lightweight. I have I use the wrist strap more than the neck strap. And this takes great pictures. Because of how small and fun the camera is, I think that this actually has a different kind of power. It's not the technical capability and the versatility we talked about before, but what it has is a kind of soft power. The Ricoh was powerful because more than any other camera I've used, it empowers you to take great photographs almost anywhere and almost anytime. And because of that soft power, I'm actually going to replace this with this, because it's powerful in a very different way. I reach for this camera more than any other, and I reach for it more than my phone. And for me, that's actually a really big deal. A few days ago, the YouTube photographer Roman Fox wrote a blog post comparing the Fuji X100VI to the Ricoh GR3X, and I'll link to that blog post below. It's very, very good. And Roman Fox concludes by saying that many people will see these two cameras as competitors, but he says he doesn't see them fighting for the same spot, and I completely agree. Because for me, the Ricoh is an alternative, but it's an alternative to my phone. More than anything else, it's an alternative to my iPhone. I don't mind taking photos with my phone, but what I don't like is how when I pick up the phone to take a photo, I am likely to get distracted by the newest text message, notification from my fantasy baseball league. While I'm there, might as well see how the Royals are doing today. Do I have any new emails? The GR is a single purpose tool. It's a pocket knife. It's a pocket knife, not a Leatherman. The smartphone is a multi-tool. It does a ton of things, most of them pretty well. The GR does one thing. It takes pictures. And maybe you've heard that quote, we shape our tools and then they shape us. The iPhone is an amazing tool, but it has shaped me into a multitasker, whereas I think the GR is shaping me into a photographer. Now, you may be asking, what about all the drawbacks of the GR? It's not weather sealed, there's no viewfinder, the autofocus isn't great, the battery life is poor, I've had overheating issues when shooting in hot weather. Honestly, I don't care. I don't care. I acknowledge all of those things and I don't care. I haven't had issues with dust yet. I'm careful in the rain. My wife actually dropped this camera from about 4 feet onto concrete and it survived. I am very much aware of the camera's limitations and imperfections. I just try to work around them or avoid them. And sometimes it's actually the limitations of the camera that endear it to me more. My neighbor has an '82 Ford pickup that is the envy of the neighborhood. And there's a lot that that truck can't do. There's a lot that it doesn't have. It doesn't have touchscreens or onboard computers or power windows. And that just makes all of us like it even more. Now, this is all very subjective, of course. And so please join the conversation in the chat. What camera is the highest for you in the metric of joy per dollar? I can't talk about the Ricoh GR without getting animated. I get a smile on my face. What camera is like that for you? Maybe it's not the GR, maybe it is, let us know. But what camera is the one that is the highest for you in terms of joy per dollar. I'll leave you with a selection of photos that I've taken with the GR over the last 2 years. You'll see that I've brought it everywhere. It's because I'm bringing it in my pocket. I'm keeping it in the center console of the car. I always have it with me, and so this is a pretty wide range of photos. Thank you for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.